Guys, I'm Laura and today I want to discuss invasive species and how you can identify them. Invasive species are essentially non-native species that are introduced into the landscape which outcompete and displace our native vegetation. This can have ecological impacts for the native living organisms that depend on that native vegetation.
Let's start with identifying privet. It can easily be found growing in dense thickets from shrubs to smaller sized trees, tolerating shade. It's also popular along forest edges and fence rows. As a prolific grower, it has the ability to quickly reproduce through its root system. The flowers are white, growing in cone-shaped clusters during the spring, then followed by persisting and toxic berry-like fruits. Though privet species range from smaller to larger leaf species, they all have leaves along the stem opposite from each other with smooth edges. Be careful to not confuse it with the native look-alike, the yaupon shrub. This native shrub has leaves that alternate along the stem with teeth-like edges. The berries are red and induce vomiting if ingested. Since this shrub has a tendency to grow in thickets, they can be thinned out to bring back natives once common along prairie ecosystems dependent on wildfires. The Chinese tallow tree, also known as the popcorn tree, is named for its kernel and waxy-looking seed pods. Having beautiful fall foliage, it is likely an introduced ornamental for the intention to develop soap from its seeds. The leaves alternate along the stem and are triangular shaped, coming to a pointy tip. It has an evident central vein from which V-shaped veins fan out. Trifoliate orange is a thorny citrus with dark green stems introduced as potential grafting stock for other desirable citrus. The small tree bears white flowers in the spring, followed by golf ball-sized oranges. The fruit is hardly edible though, with a very sour taste and containing mostly seeds with barely any pulp, though some people have tried making marmalade. The egg-shaped leaves come in sets of 3 per stalk. Branches are curved and bent, often forming a thick web of spiny thorns. The Japanese climbing fern is another introduced ornamental. It spreads to smother native vegetation as a vine-like perennial, climbing over shrubs, trees, and structures. This ability to climb acts as a fire hazard to the overstory canopy. The stems can grow up to 90 feet long and range from green to orange. The lacy leaves have finger-like lobes arranged opposite from one another.